re-include it again on the 9th. And here's the sponsorship. The bulletin today is given in loving memory of Christopher Denise Robert Purcell from October 3rd, 2001 to February 5, 2026. It's a funeral for a family I did. He was only 25 for a funeral I did over on Key Biscayne, and his mother and family have been tuning into All Souls and stuff, and they wanted to sponsor the bulletin in his memory. And the agape today is given in loving support of the Haitian orphans. So let me remind everybody, if you've got something you want to support, something you want to shout out, something you want to remember. Danny Sorkin said something I completely forgot. What if there's music you want to give a shout out to and support, or a pet you want to remember? I seeing Pam with her cat. I mean, there are all kinds of things you can support. You can support the bulletin. You can support other kinds of things as well. Parts of the service. You can support the share, the agape. And this is another way that would support the service. We said, if you can give $25 more or less, anything you want, but it's a constant way of reminding people the things that excite you, you want to share with the congregation. So again, a memorial for Christopher Denise Robert Purcell, and an agape and given support of the Haitian orphans and Jeremy. I'm sure I mispronounced that, Haiti. And thank you for Nikki and her family for really going after this. Okay, coming up in August, we unfortunately are going to have to deal with something that's very difficult. And I apologize for this, but this was another 3 o'clock in the morning job. And so I apologize. Forgiveness. The theme is, how do you forgive in times like this? I wish this hadn't bothered me, but it kept on saying, Claus, you're being a chicken. You have to deal with this. The times are nasty. You know that, and everybody else. How do you forgive? And I kept on saying, I don't want to deal with this. It kept coming back. That's your job. Deal with it. Ooh, that's harsh. I mean, this keeps coming back. I mean, so, and Tracy is on the 23rd. So Tracy and I will be on in August. You'll notice we have not stopped in August. We still have book club. Danny is still going strong with book club, and we've got connections as well. And we're here for total pastoral support. So we wish all of you, and thank you very much for your continued tuning in, continuing following us during the middle of the week, continue to give and remembering us. Nikki.
Yes. Good morning, all.
We just thanked everybody and mentioned the letter you sent out, and thanked everybody for the job you're doing with the Haitians. How do you pronounce the name of the town? I absolutely wiped it out. How did you do it?
Jeremy.
I knew I got it wrong. Jeremy.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, but I angloed it bad. Jeremy.
Jeremy, exactly.
Now, just brag for a minute, because this is important. How did you ever find this rural area? I mean, this was brilliant.
Well, this because I had gone there myself in 2016 after Hurricane Matthew. And also my stepfather's from there. So so I knew they were in trouble. So our organization went there to help out. So that's
Brilliant.
how we met it. Yeah, we met the priest. Yeah.
You've got our continued support. You know that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you.
Well, we're grateful for you to working with a real issue. I mean, this is a serious, serious issue. We've got orphaned children through no-fault hurricanes, earthquakes, the gangs, everything else. I mean, this is a serious, serious thing, and this is real. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any announcements, anything we need to be aware of before we begin? We have a memorial candle, and let's light the memorial candle in loving care of orphans everywhere. Haiti is not the only country that has orphans, and we tend to forget that. There are disasters everywhere, people being misplaced, and we forget the little children who, through no fault of their own, find themselves orphans. So let us remember the orphans everywhere. Keep them close and support the good work that's being done to try to work with them, give them a life that has meaning and love and hope. May it be so. I would ask you to join me, those of you who wish, in a call to worship that we would read together. And those of you who would, if you read together with me. Hark, traveler, hail, wanderer. Will you yield to my fire to the accompaniment of song and story? Will you share with us what has been graciously given to you? Will you pause, even for a moment, to break bread with your cousins and kin? Come to this heart, beloveds. Sit, share, listen, learn, teach, grow, and rest. Yes, rest. Be at peace for this next hour. Be at peace with all who dwell within. Be at peace, and in turn, be peace to the world that yearns for it. Selah. And morning prayers for those of you who wish to read with me. Divine Spark. Hear our simple prayer. Give us this day our broken bread, so that we might break bread with the world. Remind us this day that the life of the poor is the breath of the needy, and that we, grantors of the greater gifts, are called to serve. Let us serve humbly, honestly, and holy as we are. Selah.
Our reading this morning is from Genesis 28:10 through 19. When Jacob left Beersheba, making his way toward Haran, he reached a stopping point in his journey and lodged there, for the sun had set. Jacob made his camp among the stones. As he slept, he dreamed of a great ladder set upon the earth. The head of the ladder touched the very heavens above, and the messengers of the holy were traveling up and down. God was standing upon that great ladder, and he prophesied to Jacob in his dream, I am the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. I give to you and your descendants the land you sleep upon. Jacob awoke with a start, saying, Surely this is a holy place, and I knew it not. Jacob took the stones which he made his camp and made them into a standing pillar, pouring oil over the top to sanctify it. Jacob named the place Bethel, though the inhabitants of the city had already named it Luz. And now responsive reading by those who wish, inspired by 558 of the Evangelical United Brethren Hymnal, copyright 1957. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was light.
In the beginning, there was hope.
All things are made of light, even shadow, and where there is no light, there is nothing.
In all things, there is hope. We must remember hope.
When the people speak their words, they forget that speaking is the beginning of action.
Words carry hope. Actions create it. Hope dwells in community.
All of us who are born carry hope within us. All of us who are, were, or ever shall be are made of hope.
Hope is born of spirit, and with spirit remains with us forevermore. A beacon fire that leads us home.
As it has always been, so let it be.
Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Since all the world is but a story, it were well for thee to buy the more enduring story, rather than the story that is less enduring. St. Columba of Scotland. Finian and Columba got into a disagreement over a psalter. Columba borrowed the manuscript from Finian, possibly without permission, and secretly copied it in order to keep it for his own use. Finian discovered Columba's deception and demanded that Columba hand over the copy he had made. Columba refused. Finian took the matter to the Irish High King Diarmid mac Curfall for arbitration. Believing he had done nothing wrong in his attempt to spread the word of the church, Columba agreed to the arbitration. Finian's argument was simple. My book. You can't copy it. He felt that if anyone was going to copy it, that it should be done through certain procedures and certainly not in secret under his own roof. Columba responded, It is not right that the divine words in that book should perish, or that I or any other should be hindered from writing them, or reading them, or spreading them among the tribes. The king ruled in Finian's favor, famously saying, "To every cow belongs its calf, to every book its copy." In other words, every copy of a book belongs to the owner of the original book. After more arguing and Columba's continued offenses, the result was the Battle of Kuldravna, the death of 3,000 people, and Columba's exile.
One of the very first versions of today's order of service had a different song in it than Noah Gunderson's David. And it's a song from my youth, from my adolescence. And some of you who are of a similar age as me may also remember it. Unfortunately, it's by a band whose name is unrepeatable here. The song is called Pepper. And as we go through the rest of the share, I want you to hang on to one line from the chorus. You'll never know just how you look through other people's eyes. We, collectively and individually, often see the things that happen to us and around us as things targeting us, as a deliberate act designed to specifically hurt us. No lie, some of them are, and I'm not going to erase that. However, most of the acts we feel are personal attacks are not. But to properly tell the difference, we need perspective. Perspective lets us develop empathy in tandem with critical reasoning, so that when, not if, something happens, we have a tool set to know the difference between an attack and an incident, to see the truth of the incident in its totality and not as isolated events. An example. One of the circles I move in is what's called the Filk community. That's F-I-L-K. And the Filk community is a subset of science fiction and fantasy fans that also happen to be musicians of one stripe or another. We write it, we play it, we celebrate it, and we do what we can to keep our communal spaces safe and accessible. We do our best to preserve and evolve our little corners of fandom through song and community building. And I was at such a convention in June, where my role as just an attendee got complicated. I tend to try and leave most of my other identities behind when I'm just attending a convention, because it's all the better to quiet my own mind over not helping enough. And after running conventions for almost 20 years, this has also become an act of self-care. Unfortunately, that first night broke my will. And it did so for the very reasons that I started running conventions in the first place. You see, one of our traditions when we gather is what's called an open song circle. And it is exactly what it sounds like. A circle of chairs is formed in a room. People fill those chairs with various instruments, and they share whatever they feel is relevant to the zeitgeist of the moment. There are some unspoken rules about language filters, consent, political discourse, rules that we as a community have adopted based on our own lessons learned. The song circles are intended to be welcoming, inclusive, and above all, accessible. And that first night, that first circle, that first one of a brand new con being run by some of my very best friends was everything we as a community strive to avoid. The chairs in the main room had been moved haphazardly without regard to accessing either of the two doors or proper fire safety. Folks playing or listening carved out their own spots in the room with a certain amount of "I've got mine, now buzz off" attitude.
Oh.
And it was not great. The next morning, I suggested to my friends that we revamp the room's layout to prevent a repeat of the previous night's problems. They agreed. I drafted another friend and we went to work taping off the floor and the sides to create aisles and clear passage to both doors. It was, as one might say, a holy work. And there was noise, as there always is, mostly from folks who did not know Emily, my friend, or myself. How dare these Chicago people, blah, 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 blah. You could watch, and Emily and I did, all of the little intergroup fractures emerging like flowers in the desert after a monsoon. And with the blessing of our mutual friends, I used an open announcement period to remind folks of why we are a community and that I am not just a Chicago filker. I'm also a con runner. I'm also a veteran. I'm also disabled. And the work of accessibility is an act of faith for me as a Unitarian Universalist minister on behalf of the communities that claim me as their own. Let me repeat that again. The work of accessibility is an act of faith for me as a Unitarian Universalist minister on behalf of communities that claim me as their own. Because we're all made of multitudes, to misquote Whitman. We do the work to be welcoming, to live into our shared values. Inclusivity begins with welcome and it matures into perspective. And we do it and explain it because we never quite know how exactly we look through someone else's eyes. That difference is always perspective. When your empathy flares because someone is a jerk, self-care starts from perspective. When you set your boundaries to prevent harm, where to set them starts from perspective. All of our social justice work and community building work that we do, all of it starts from perspective. Because you cannot understand an injustice until you have empathy for the person or the people who are experiencing it. And that's doubly true when that person is yourself. Jacques Derrida, the famous French philosopher, wrote in On Love and Being about what love is versus what we think it is. And this excerpt is resonating with me. It is often said that love is the movement of the heart. Does my heart move because I love someone who is an absolute singularity or because I love the way that someone is? The question is itself always already divided between who and what. I can speak of it abstractly, but I think that whoever starts to love is in love or starts loving is caught between this division of the who and the what. Every single thing we hold noble about ourselves is something someone else sees as corrosive, as something to be torn down and converted into their own form of proper being. This is especially true when one's existence is at the center of that divide. Transgender rights, marriage equality, disability access, all of these things, and so much more, are things that sit on opposite sides of an ideological gulf. For every one of those that is a strength, there is a counter argument that strikes at the very calling cards by which we are known. Remember that quote at the beginning? How we never really know how we look through another's eyes? This is that. As we learn what drives others' perceptions, we can choose to begin a conversation or build a wall. Some folks, to quote Cool Hand Luke, are folks we can reach, and others we never will. Perception tells us the difference. Empathy fuels that work. And love, not romantic, but that deep, selfish commonwealth of humanity kind of love we know as agape, binds the whole of us into a community that heals and grows. But I wonder, oh, how I wonder, especially when I'm driving 7 hours home from a music convention in Iowa, what we might accomplish if we let the beauty of our perceptions drive more of our empathy, more of our community building, more of our first principle work. I don't know. I really don't. But I absolutely want to find out. Because at that convention in June, a Jewish friend of mine told me a story about a mutual friend of ours who now lives in Germany, about when he was a little boy, raised in a tradition that I know very well, a tradition that used Wonder Bread and grape juice during the communion services. One day, not long after he discovered that it was, in fact, white Wonder Bread he had at church, he was at the store with his mother when he saw a giant Easter display made up of, wait for it, white Wonder Bread and grape juice. And as he tells it, he stood there open-mouthed and astonished at that display and promptly told his mother that that was an awful lot of Jesus. And it's a funny story. I about choked on my water when she told me it. But then I got to thinking about bread already broken when we receive it, about community circles we draw wider and wider with blue tape because it's the right thing to do. And we do this every single day as members of All Souls. We make more of the good than there was the previous day. We try always to write a better story, a truer story, a more just story. We pour our whole selves into this work, and I am grateful for it. May we continue the work. May our work forever be a blessing, a mitzvah for a broken and hungry world. Selah.
After Jesus died, those who followed and listened and heard were scattered. And it didn't happen. It happened, as Bobby Vance would say, organically. People just began to gather in homes to hear what people remembered, what they saw, what they heard. And as these gatherings became a place of compassion, a place of empathy, and a place of welcome. Compassion, empathy, and welcome. And that's what agape really became back in those early decades after Jesus died. The poor came with little food to be refreshed physically and spiritually. Others came to be refreshed as best as they could. You might say empathy and compassion, to try each day to make these a better way. And that's what they did. That's what they meant by agape, love, compassion, empathy. And so from the very beginning, this is our 20th year. All Souls, every time we gather, takes simple bread, the very simplest you can get, in a very, very simple cup. And we offer at the end of the service a reminder that we welcome and we try compassion, empathy, welcome, caring, and support. And for some, this works, and for some, it does not. But one thing we found that did work, we all held hands at the end. So imagine right now we are all standing up front, holding hands. And then, I have no idea how we did this, we discovered Winnie the Pooh. Now, in an august time of theologians and terrible theologians and philosophy and all kinds of osophies, and STEM and everything else, Winnie the Pooh, really? And it turns out Winnie the Pooh gives us much wisdom. And I ask you to repeat after me as we've done for the last 20 years. Promise me you'll remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Then we found other words. God didn't promise days without pain, laughter without sorrows, sun without rain. But the divine did promise strength for the day, comfort for the tears, and light for the way. And Andrea will lead us in the final prayer.
Join me, if you will. Divine Spark, hear our simple prayer. May we receive wisdom, and may we heed it. May we teach wisdom, and may others receive it. May wisdom come to us from all manner of sources, and may those sources amplify our work for the beloved community. May it be so, and may we be the ones to make it so. Selah.
A parting blessing. May the grace of all that abounds in this world bless you, keep you, and move with you throughout the remainder of your days. May you be a blessing to others, and in return receive the blessings that return. Selah. Amen. Well, thank you very much this morning. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing with us. Thank you, Tracy, for reading, Dr. Tracy. And thank you for sharing, Andrea, the realities that we can try our very best and other people have weird stuff. We hang in with empathy and courage. Thank you. Judy and Rick, good morning to you. Digit, thank you much. Thank you, Maureen, for being here. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Pam, Danny, and let's see, where's Pat? Are from Forest Hills. Danny Sorkin is from, he is too, yeah. Danny, Maureen, Danny, Pat, and I've got to just wait. We got all these people from Forest Hill. I'm lost. Pam.
Danny, Pat, and Pam.
Yes, thank you. And Maureen is down here, farm country. Nikki is over in Cutler Bay. Felix is up in North Miami. Cecilia is here. Bobby Vance is in Kissimmee. Gala is in, she's north. She's just below Bal Harbor. And Cindy Deach is up in Port Orange. Pat Kincaid is here. And Gail and Tom are in Port Orange as well. Pat Kincaid will soon be in another month or two up in Brookline, where I had a congregation 900 years ago. But we all keep in touch. And the nice thing about being virtual is that we are able to transcend boundaries and Chicagoland thoughts and being kept in boxes. It is so wonderful that you're all here and you bring to us all that you've got. What a blessing. May the week be well. Remember, we are always here to support and care and love for each other. And thank you much, and may your week be good. Don't be without an internet or phone. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. And
Have
thank
a great
you.
week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody have a
Bye,
good week.
everyone.
Be well.
Everyone, still wish we could visit afterwards. Keep that in mind.
You remind